So as this championship season has now officially wrapped up, this is where the transfer rumours are really going to start filtering in over these next few weeks and months. We've got plenty to discuss on the channel today as well. Later in the week we'll be previewing the first leg of the playoff semi-finals as well, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But without any further ado, let's jump in. So any rumours speculating about Daniel Farke's future at Leeds can pretty much be put to bed right now, because the Leeds United chairman has come out and said that Farke is his man and he will be the man leading Leeds into the Premier League next season. Now, after Leeds did clinch promotion to the Premier League, there was a bit of paper talk about Leeds potentially looking to replace him if they could find an adequate upgrade on him going into the Premier League. But a few days after those initial reports came out, some conflicting reports came out, and we've since had confirmation from the Leeds United chairman that they're not looking to make a change in the dugout. Now, plenty of people will glance over Daniel Farke's Premier League record and might scoff at it. I'll say what I said in last week's video. Being the Leeds United manager in the Premier League is very different to being the Norwich City manager in the Premier League. He is going to get back this summer, I've got no doubt about that. Whether or not he'll keep Leeds up in the Premier League, I think that is still up for debate, and there probably are managers out there who Leeds could look to strike as maybe a bit of an upgrade on Farke as well, but you risk rocking the boat when doing that, especially after such a brilliant season in the Championship. And it seems like Leeds will be putting their full focus into recruitment and getting the right players on board for Farke to deliver them Premier League safety. But jumping into some transfer rumours, once again Wrexham are being linked with the move for Leeds United forward Patrick Bamford. These reports first came out back in the January window. Obviously nothing materialised on that front in the end, but once again it's in the media, and this is a player that it would seem Wrexham are looking at. Obviously they're going to be trying to establish themselves as a Championship club, definitely going to be one of the busiest EFL sides in the transfer market this summer. Bamford's an interesting one. Obviously he's just been involved in this Leeds United promotion, but didn't really play a prevalent role in that. He made 17 Championship appearances for Leeds this season. All 17 of those came from the bench, so didn't start a single of Leeds' 46 Championship matches. He missed a lot of the campaign through injury, and the difficulty for teams trying to get Bamford out of Leeds United is just going to be his wages, and I'm sure that they'll have probably taken a bump up with Leeds now back in the Premier League. He's only got 1 year left on his deal at Elland Road. You can't imagine Leeds are going to find much use of him in the Premier League next season, so the Wrexham interest definitely isn't going away anytime soon. Another forward that Wrexham are considering going after is Plymouth Argyle's Ryan Hardy, and I definitely think there's going to be quite a bit of Championship interest in the 28-year-old. Despite Plymouth's relegation to League One this season, he still popped up with some decent numbers, scored 10 goals, got 3 assists. Fairly versatile as well. He can play through the middle, out on the right hand side if you need him, or just behind the striker. Can play a few different roles. I definitely think for a newly promoted side he'd be a really effective player. Now obviously I'm sure Plymouth fans are hoping to keep hold of him. He'd be brilliant in League One next season, but he is set to go into the final year of his contract with Plymouth, so if the club are looking to cash in, this summer's probably the best time to do that. And another forward that Wrexham are reportedly looking into is Cardiff's Callum Robinson, another player who has been relegated to League One, but someone who I'd be very surprised if he's still playing for Cardiff in League One next season. Robinson, in 24 starts and 10 substitute appearances, scored 12 goals for Cardiff and got an assist. He's 30 years old now and is still under contract with the Bluebirds until 2027, but this has been the business model of Wrexham. When they're promoted to the next division, they're always looking to go after experienced pros in that league, and Robinson ticks a lot of boxes. Once again, like Hardy, a fairly versatile forward who can play in a few different roles. He can play as a number 9, he can play off the left hand side, or as a number 10. A player with his track record in the Championship as well, you could see why a club like Wrexham would be interested for sure. The latest striker being linked with Leeds United is Troy Parrot, the former Tottenham Academy graduate. He's currently playing for AZ Alkmaar and has done really well this season actually. Across all competitions he's scored 20 goals. It has been somewhat of a proper breakthrough season for him really, after a few hit and miss loan spells, but he left Tottenham on a permanent basis in 2024 and has been absolutely smashing things in the Eredivisie. Whether or not he'd be a player who would be good enough to keep Leeds up in the Premier League it remains to be seen. An interesting one, Troy Parrot, because, I mean, I've seen quite a bit of him because we had him on loan at Preston a few years ago, and even during that loan spell, while his numbers weren't great, you know, he only scored 3 goals over the full championship season for us, you could still see that he had something about him, a decent drop of the shoulder, his link-up play was always very good, and you could tell that he was an intelligent footballer. He just didn't quite have that final product, but by all accounts, it seems like the penny has dropped for him while playing out in the Eredivisie this season. So whether or not Leeds United do decide to pursue that deal, we'll have to wait and see. But going off the latest reports, it looks like he's someone on their radar at the moment. Southampton are targeting Sunderland's Anthony Patterson as a potential replacement for Aaron Ramsdale, as it's not expected that Ramsdale will stick with Southampton in the Championship next season. Now, something that definitely has to be said about Sunderland is that if they're not promoted in the playoffs this year, that squad could be absolutely ripped apart over the summer in terms of how many of their players are garnering interest from clubs in the Premier League, clubs from around Europe right now. Yeah, it's going to be absolute chaos at the Stadium of Light this summer, it feels. Now, don't get me wrong, Sunderland are going to bank a huge fortune if they do decide to cash in on several of their young assets, but trying to rebuild that over the summer could be quite the task in itself. Now, in this series, we've spoken about Patterson quite a few times. He's a goalkeeper who has been linked with a few Premier League moves in recent months, but in recent times, it looks like he's someone who has popped up on Southampton's radar. Another player that looks like Southampton will be going in for is Crystal Palace's Jezan Raki, who spent this season out on loan with Sheffield United. Now, it's an interesting one because the Saints did try and sign the winger last summer. Ultimately, they were unsuccessful in their approach, and Crystal Palace decided to loan him out to Sheffield United in the Championship instead. Well, it would appear like Southampton are still big admirers of the 22-year-old. This season in the Championship, he scored 7 goals and got 2 assists. He's sort of been in and out of that starting 11 at Sheffield United, hasn't he? Very tidy player on his day and only 22 years old as well. You can see why the Saints would be interested. Whether or not that would be a loan or permanent deal, we'll have to wait and see. According to the latest reports, Middlesbrough are the club who are leading the race to sign Blackburn's Tyrie Stolen at the end of the season. Blackburn's still trying to get the winger tied down to a new contract, but nothing has been signed as of yet, and if his contract is allowed to run out, he will be available as a free agent in the summer. Now, you can definitely see why there would be a lot of Championship interest in the 23-year-old. He's at a good age. He's got 7 goals, 6 assists this season. Definitely someone who can be very hot and cold. He's your classic sort of Championship on your day player, where on his day, he is brilliant and can be an absolute game changer, but when he's not on it, can feel quite anonymous in some of those matches for Blackburn. But he's ended the season especially in really good form, with 4 goal contributions in his last 6 games for Blackburn, and it looks like Middlesbrough are one of the leading Championship clubs trying to go after his signature at the moment. Both Cardiff and Swansea are supposedly interested in QPR youngster Laurent Teller. The youngster's only briefly featured for QPR's senior team, but has been impressing by all accounts with the under-21s. Supposedly there's also been a bit of interest from clubs in France as well, with the likes of Reims and Strasbourg also supposedly interested. Derby manager John Eustace has already spoken about Nat Phillips and the potential of signing him on a permanent basis going into this summer when his contract at Liverpool is set to expire. Obviously the Liverpool loanee has done really well while out on loan at Pride Park. The only potential stumbling block in this deal could be the player's wages. He is on a big contract at Liverpool at the moment. According to Capology, and I know that take these numbers with a pinch of salt, but he's reportedly on 65 grand a week at Liverpool. Can't see him earning anywhere near that in the Championship, but you'd still probably expect him to demand a decent wage there, especially with him signing as a free agent. But looks like Eustace is keen to push that transfer through. Oxford are reportedly looking to tie Mark Harris down to a new contract. He is set to enter the final year of his deal with Oxford, but with the club looking to protect the player's long-term value, it's understood that they are looking to go into contract negotiations with him soon. He scored 6 goals and got 3 assists in the Championship this season, and Oxford certainly don't want to be losing him on a free next summer. And it looks like there could be a big change going on in the Watford goalkeeping department. Reportedly, Daniel Blackman is going to be made available for a move this summer. The goalkeeper has been at Watford since 2017. During that time, he's racked up over 130 appearances for the club, but by all accounts is someone who the club are willing to move on this summer. Lost his starting spot in the second half of the season. 30 years old now as well, albeit he is still under contract until 2028, and so how easy it would be to shift him, we'll have to wait and see. But there you have it, folks. That will wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, if you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and if you've seen any other transfer rumours, make sure to tell me about them in the comments down below. The championship season might have ended, but we've still got plenty to digest over these next few weeks and months on the channel. So if you're not already, do subscribe and drop a like if you enjoyed. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.